Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Wise Witch Garden Table Sacred Sunday.
Yes, here we are.
So today we thought we'd talk a little bit about, tell a couple of animal messenger stories. So for those of you other nature witches and nature lovers out there, I know we all get messages from animals, from plant spirits, and from other spirits in between. I have seen fairies. I'll tell that story some other time.
That's a great story.
But today we're going to talk about animals and animal messengers. And and then we'll draw an animal card for the week and sort of tune in and see what maybe the animal realm is looking to share with us this week. So why don't you start with a great story?
I have a great story about the first German Shepherd that we owned. His name was Tonka, and he was a white shepherd. And I kept feeling like I had to show up and pick this dog up because it was during the winter. So there was a big snowstorm, and we had to cancel for that weekend because he was in Pennsylvania, which was like a 7-hour drive for us. And something kept calling me to get this dog. And as soon as I saw him, I fell in love with him. And then he was pretty wild for a while. But one day I'm sitting there with him, and I put my hand on the side of him, like on his chest, or, the side of his body.
He was a magnificent looking.
Well, we have a picture. Yeah. When I put my hand on his body, I felt like he was my horse in another life. All of a sudden, I got all these flashes, and I was like, oh, that's why I had to pick him up. I had to go get him because he was mine already, and I had an instant connection to this dog, as you know.
And when he was your horse, you were Native American.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So before he was a year old, he was loose in the backyard one day after we got our fence.
Yep.
And look what he dug up. A horseshoe.
I'll hold it up a little more.
A horseshoe. Yeah. And that was
that. And this is the only horseshoe we've ever found here. We don't throw horseshoes. We don't
have a horse.
I've dug up the complete backyard, putting in gardens, as you all, if you watch the channel, can attest to. Yeah, he dug that up.
He dug that up to let me know that that's exactly what it was. And that's what I mean by animal messages. And also, they could warn you about certain things. I know I've had warnings from animals. I also feel like loved ones come back and give you messages through animals. We know the red cardinal is a strong symbol for the other realms.
And for you, the red cardinal, when you see one, what is it who is it that you know is stepping in to say hello?
It depends on what I'm thinking about, what I'm doing in my life, but it's usually a family member. I know my cousin and I share a strong thing with the cardinal. My sister and I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just a way of them letting you know that they're still around you, that your loved ones.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But there's also another story I have to tell about an animal warning. The first time we went out west to Arizona
together,
mm-hmm. Sue kept having a dream of a rattlesnake, and I was like, playing it down, blowing it off, saying, "Oh yeah, of course you're having a dream about a rattlesnake. We're going to Arizona." Well, it was more than that. So we meet up with a family that I had, become very good friends with when I lived there for a short time, and we go hiking. It was Sue, myself, and my friend Ed. And we are walking and we're hiking for a while, right? And we were in a beautiful canyon.
Yeah, we were at Lake Peña Blanca.
Here we go.
In just outside of Nogales, Tucson, Arizona area. Beautiful, lots of Indian petroglyphs and caves, and it's a part of the land where the Apaches, because her friend Ed, who is part Apache and also Mexican, had pointed out that it was an area where the Apaches would hide a lot of different weapons in caves, so that if they were traveling through the area and they were under threat from colonizers, they would find, you know, supplies in caves to help sort of fight them off. But anyway, I digress.
How smart.
The bird. Yeah. You see like a man floating up. And here's the arrow pointing up.
Oh wow.
Pointing the way.
Wait, where's the arrow? Oh yeah.
Right here.
I see it. Yep.
And then here's the mountain range. And here's the smoke.
Ah.
And then there's another, say, it kind of goes up. It's like spirits going up.
Yeah.
Throw some water and take some for yourself. There's plenty in there. You could put some in the bottle if you want. Right? You want a better picture, Ash?
Oh no, I got pictures. That's
Oh, okay.
awesome.
Yeah, look at that, man. That's cool.
Oh, there's the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
Now you really could appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, good job.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, and we had encountered on that hike caves and you know, Native American drawings, rock carvings, drawings, all that. A beautiful hike.
Well, the story of the rattlesnake came into play with me for oh my God, it was such an interesting day. Let's put it that way. Of course, I had to, you know, there's no facilities out there, so I'll just try to keep this, you know.
Yep.
But I had to go.
The bladder was calling.
The bladder was calling. And so I said, I let the two of them go ahead of me. And I was hanging back. And then I find this spot and I'm like, okay. So I start to, like, you know, pull my shorts down. And next thing I know, I hear, do it.
Yeah. The loudest, and we were in a canyon, so it echoed. It was loud. Big rattle. And
I look to my right side, and I see the biggest snake I've ever seen in my life.
Above her head on a rock ledge.
Yes. So it was like up here.
Yeah, it was sunning itself. She was against the rock wall, and it was just like right about there.
And it pretty much warned me that it was there. It wasn't, if it wanted to reach out and get me and bite me or whatever, no problem. I was right next to it. I never saw it until I heard the rattle. Then I looked up and I was like, oh no. You know, I was very calm. I didn't scream. And I calmly got up, backed up. And then and they already heard the rattle. So they started to walk back towards me and they were laughing because my face was like, I saw a ghost, but it was worse. It was a live snake. So with that, Ed begins to count the buttons, which is how he said that you
knew it was the age.
It was a grandfather because it had 13 buttons. That's how big this snake was.
Yeah,
that's how old
it was.
Head was
like, I mean, seriously, it was like that big. The head,
like this,
was massive.
So anyway, it
validated my dream for sure that we should be, you know, cautious. And then it's funny in hindsight, I look at that also, you know, a snake represents an element of transmutation, transformation, right? I think it's transformation.
Yes.
And I think that was right before we kind of got married. So,
okay.
So I always look at that as also like a kind of, you know,
message
having an impact on you and I's relationship as well. But that was amazing.
We also encountered another thing. It has nothing to do with animals. Is it all right if I throw this in?
I don't see why not.
Well,
there's no rules.
Okay.
We have no rules, not in the kitchen and not in the meditation room.
We had rocks thrown at us.
Oh yeah. That was the same hike.
And they
After
really
touching a rattle. We found the tortoise rattle up in a cave. We went up into a cave on this hike, and there were petroglyphs on the wall.
Yes.
And there was a tortoise rattle, like old, and we knew, do not touch it, do not take it. It wasn't that. Nobody touched it or took it.
Oh,
we knew to leave it.
Yeah.
We came down from the cave, and we're on the path, and all of a sudden,
there were rocks thrown at us, literally. I kid you not. It was a little scary. Because I felt like, you know, if somebody's telling you to get out of their space, you get out of their space. You know, it's respect.
We hiked on.
But we apologized for whatever we upset and we kept going, and we weren't there to wreck the land or take anything that we would never take anything. That's like number one rule. You don't touch anything.
You leave things, you don't take things.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that happened that same day, because
That's right.
I remember
That's right.
just thinking, wow, what a interesting day it was today, the whole.
And then I have one last one before
sure.
unless you have more, but
I always have more.
well, yeah, there's a lot.
Okay.
So I have a couple as well, but the one that just happened to me a couple weeks ago,
Yes.
we had just hung about 12 feet of prayer flags on our fence in the backyard.
You think everyone knows what prayer flags?
Yeah, they know that. If not, there'll be pictures embedded in this so we can show. So anyway, we just hung them. They look great. I was in the garden, and I was praying and meditating in the garden, and I was asking for a sign, whether or not some of my heartfelt kind of intentions and desires were, whether I had the right approach to calling things to me. And anyway, so I was in a very sort of grounded place with the earth, and I heard a noise from my place in the garden, and I looked over, and a squirrel had chewed off 4 feet of the flags that we had just hung, probably a couple weeks before, a month
tops.
before. When we hung the flags, of course, we kind of said prayers over them and put our intentions into them for peace and love in the world and all that kind of stuff, and protection for our house. And anyway, I looked up, and the squirrel had chewed through 4 feet, and he was running across the backyard with the prayer flags in his mouth. And I was like, what the hell, and I was yelling at it at first, and then I stopped, and I realized I had just asked for a sign, and there it was. The squirrel was taking my prayers. This is how I see it.
Yes.
Was taking my prayers for me to somewhere else. I watched him go up a tree with the flags, and by the time I got out of the garden, because our garden has a gate, I had to get up, I had to undo the gate, and I went running to where he went. And I looked up, and there was no sign of the squirrel, no sign of the flags. So that was pretty awesome.
There's your sign.
And then my other animal, well, I mean, we both have a million, but, we're trying to keep this short today.
Yeah.
But my other really intense one, when my father passed away in, I think, 2015, myself and my family were down in Florida cleaning out his house, as you do, and all that kind of stuff. And I had to rent a car, and I was taking some of the things to Goodwill. And so I was filling up the car, and on the last thing I could fit in, I walked out with, it was like a laundry basket full of, household items and things like that. And I was walking back toward the car. I'd parked the rental car under a tree, because Florida, everybody was in the carport. There was no other shade. So I parked under a tree. And as I was putting the basket in the trunk of the car, a hawk landed in the tree over the car, literally like right in front of me, gave out a screech, and didn't even move. I mean, I shut the trunk. The hawk and I sort of were eye to eye. And I knew instinctively that was my father. I didn't even have to give a thought. And I just said, Godspeed, Harry, and the hawk flew away. And now anytime I often will talk to both my parents, but anytime I talk to my father in the car when I'm traveling, usually during the course of that day or while I'm in the conversation with my dad, I'll see a hawk. And typically it's perched. It's usually on a post, on a tree, kind of mimicking the interaction I had. So those are my two intense stories.
Well, just to reiterate about birds and owls in particular, I had always heard if you see a perched owl, someone's going to pass that you may know. It doesn't have to be a close person, but you'll hear about a death, and that happened to me more than once. But the first time it happened, it was perched on a telephone pole, and I was living in Florida at the time. And I remember looking up, going, "Wow, look at that owl! He's just sitting there." The next day, my cousin's husband's father died. I mean, it was just like boom, you know. And I thought, okay, that's your message. And so animals are giving us messages all the time if we look for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I know we've seen a lot of bears and bobcats here in Massachusetts.
Deer,
All
turkey.
Yes. I mean, now I even have where the animal's telling me to look for it when I'm driving on a road, so that I don't hit it, or you know, I'm aware. I've had that with deer many times, and coyotes are the tricksters. You know, I remember thinking, you know, about a relationship I was in a long time ago. Should I stay in it? Should I get out? And I kept seeing the coyote. And which means, you know, trickster, don't do it. That's what it meant, you know. And we have animal cards with a book, and we always pick animal cards and always have. You want to pick one quick, or?
Yeah, we could do that. Okay. Sure. Yeah, so we just created a nice little space today. As always, when in the prayer room, lit a candle, did our meditation before, and we're going to draw an animal card and just see what maybe this week is holding for us. Yeah, I always see things, boy. Animals.
Yeah.
And I try to immediately tune into what the message is. Oftentimes, another really good, well, I'll show that in a minute. This book here is awesome.
Oh, best
So if
one.
you do
Animal
encounter
Speaks.
like an animal and you're wondering, that's how I would suggest you get started with animal communications is really, or animal messages, is really just be aware when you do see something unusual or have an interesting encounter with an animal. And this book, Animal Speak, is really good about looking into what some of that information is, or what the embodiment of that animal spirit brings to the path and to the journey, and or foretells. It's a really good book. All right.
It is.
Do you want to pick a card?
Sure, I'll
All
pick
right,
one.
why don't you do that?
Also, in this, dragonflies come up. We also have insects, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're all part of it. Dragonflies, butterflies, all amazing. I mean, hummingbirds are just like, you know, messengers
Joy.
from the spirit realm, and joy. Yeah, absolutely. Birds tend to be spirit realm things and bring a lot of stuff. There you go. Go ahead, grab one. That's a good one.
How do you know?
I don't know.
I knew it.
You got the mouse.
And I knew it before, because I was thinking, oh, even a mouse fits into this.
That's right.
Into this situation.
So let's we'll look into the mouse and let's see what that is.
Number 20, and you also look at the
number.
number.
And the number on this card is number 20, which is a 2.
Partnership.
Oh, look at us. Look at us making it all happen
mouse.
Here. Yeah.
You want to
Yeah, well, all right. So there's mouse right there. And so the mouse is about scrutiny and looking at what's right before your eyes. It's also kind of a warning animal, because it's saying, not a warning animal, but it's saying to scrutinize things that are right before your eyes. Like, so for example, you know, the example they use is maybe the big hunk of cheese is actually going to trigger a trap, right? Maybe some of the, so in real world, because we're not all, you know, searching for cheese on a trap, but for humans, right? Maybe that person that you've invested authority into, a doctor, a lawyer, a plumber, an electrician, a friend even, maybe, you know, there's something to be aware of there. So it's really like an awareness card. You said discernment as well is really important. So mouse medicine is good stuff. So that's a great card. So for this week, I would just say, you know, take that and scrutinize, as it says, scrutinize who you're giving your power to, who you're trusting. And it's not about being mistrustful of people. It's just about having that power of discernment and not giving that away.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, folks, thanks so much for sitting with us this morning. And what's in your animal cards? What animals have you seen this week? Have you seen anything this week at all?
This week?
We've seen a red cardinal come back a lot
we see
this
those,
week.
Oh, yeah, we do see them pretty much.
I have one visiting me at I go into an office a couple of days a week, and just this week it started where a cardinal is showing up at the window. Like every time I'm in the office, which is kind of nice.
Well, then sometimes you go, okay, what's the date when you see that to see is it someone's anniversary or birthday and your family or that? I mean, they're just there to help us.
Yeah. So pay attention to what
help.
you see when you see it. Look it up in a book. You can go online. I'm sure this book's a great resource. As I said, the cards we use are animal spirit cards. They're called medicine cards. And this book too is really helpful at if you do see something, looking up its deeper meaning and the medicine it has to bring to you. So we hope you found this helpful. We hope you are having a great Sacred Sunday today. Be kind to yourself and others, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Namaste.